This is Insiders Pro Wrestling, and the best is still to come.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Between the Ropes. And man, do we have a lot to talk about tonight. We're coming off one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year for WWE, and there was no lack of news there. So lots of stuff going on there, and a lot's going on in the wrestling world, Jeff, as usual, when we come together to do these shows.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. There's so much, and I'm gonna try my best to not piss a bunch of people off.
I'm gonna contribute to the grievance section today a little bit too.
Mine isn't really even gonna be a grievance; it's just gonna be throughout because I've just made up my mind that I'm just gonna say what I gotta say. So.
Yeah. It was a really, really fun week. I see Dylan saying, "What a great week of wrestling." Yeah, it was. There was a lot going on. Of course, as you will have with any big wrestling event, there was division. You had haters, and you had people who loved it, and there's very little in between anymore with anyone's opinion. It's always either like, oh, it's horrible. And usually, those people either maybe just don't like the product to begin with, or they just want to say negative things for negative things and negative reasons. But we'll get into our thoughts on the Rumble, and I enjoyed it. Had a good time. I was able to watch it for free, which is nice. I didn't have to pay for the ESPN app. The cool thing is they seem like they show the replays for free, because that's when I watched it. I watched it after it was done, so I was able to watch it for free afterwards, because obviously I couldn't see it. I wasn't home for the show. But yeah, we'll get into that. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Like we said, we'll get into the Rumble stuff. We're going to talk about AJ Styles, of course. We're going to talk about the Masked Man, of course. And then we're going to just get into a whole bunch of other stuff. We'll have TNA news to talk about and everything like that as well. We'll do some grievances tonight. And then we'll, of course, do Sell or No Sell, where you guys take part in that. And then, Jeff, we're going to need that fire tonight for later on, because, man, is it freaking cold. It is cold here. Oh, I am over it. I'm over these sub-zero nights, and oh my God, I am over this. Thank God we didn't get that snow that the Carolinas got. Ooh, man. But we'll do that. I don't know if we have anything what to watch for this week, do we? Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think we really have anything coming up other than the normal stuff. But yeah, so there you go. All right, well, let's say hello to everybody. First off, while I'm saying hello, those of you who are here for the first time, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and also make sure that you drop a like on the stream for us tonight. Helps us out big time with the YouTube stuff. And make sure to hit the notification bell to be notified about when we have future content, in which you will see up on the screen what we've got coming up for the week. And of course, after today, on Tuesday, will be an episode of Between the Ropes. With all that good, interesting stuff going on between the MFTs. And, of course, there was news with that this week. And Solo Sikoa proclaiming that they have won the battle. But a little retort from Bo Dallas saying, not so fast. Not so fast. So there's a lot going on between those two. And Jeff and Chris will be here to tell you all about the latest with the Wyatt Six and all things that. So make sure you join them on Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we have a TNA wrestling watch along, of course, every single Thursday starting at 8:30 p.m. The show actually begins at 9. So come and join us for TNA, which is last couple of weeks have been very, very, very interesting. And the show just seems to be getting better and better as it goes, which is great news for TNA as well. So,
and Joe, do you want to, when would you like to put the link out for the TIGs?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we definitely have to do that because we're getting a lot. Well, we're getting pretty well past the time we usually do this. So yeah, we're going to get the link out to everybody to start voting, and make sure you get out there and vote for all of those because they are your awards. We got the Grammys, I think, is tonight, and we got the Oscar nominees. Go Sinners, man! Sinners get nominations. It's pretty awesome. It's always cool when a horror film gets nominated for stuff. You don't see that happen very much. Right. But yeah, get out there and vote. And then, of course, we will gather the crew and we will have our TIGS Awards show. So make sure that you're voting, and we will then tabulate everything and see who you picked for all of our awards for this year. So make sure you come out for that as well. That will be held on a Sunday instead of this very show. So that will be coming up as well very soon. So, yeah. All righty. So let's see, we got Clown in the house. We've got, I have a heater on here. Hold on 1 second because my seat is getting actually a little bit too hot. The seat is getting a little too hot. I'm going to turn the temperature down on this. And there we go. No, we don't want there. That's the way. Okay. It's a space heater, but it's quite big. Okay. All right. So we've got Clown. We've got Dylan. We have Brandon. We have Big Dan. We have Andrew Stevens. We have Damien. We have Gust is in the house with Dylan. Sean Rousset. Jen Carter. Hello. Barry Monkey. We have Conrad is in the house as well. Hello, Conrad. And Bonus Baby is out there also. So welcome to everyone who is here. We appreciate you coming out. So, Jeff, I guess we should get started.
Yeah, let's get to the news. So here's the news video, and then we'll get right into our first topic.
All righty, sounds good, man.
Joe, are you muted? I believe Joe is muted, folks. He will be back shortly. Let's see. Anyway, so as soon as Joe is able to get his audio, I'm not sure what's going on, but technical stuff, folks. You know how
there
it goes. There you go.
Okay.
All right. Royal Rumble recap.
All right, so let's go over the Rumble. Obviously, we had the women's match, the men's match, and we had some other matches in between. So, Jeff, I guess we should start off with the women's Rumble. That's how they started off the show. And, look, I am the women's Rumble, and we were talking a little bit before we came on, but I thought it was good. I thought that the winner, of course, Liv Morgan, I thought that was the right choice. Liv is just incredibly popular with the crowd. And I think this is going to, personally, I think it's going to coincide with and I don't know that she'll leave Judgment Day, but I think this is going to coincide with a turn for her, Jeff. I think she's going to, you saw a little bit of friction there between her and Raquel. And I think that Liv is going to maybe we'll see kind of a face turn from Liv. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that happened. Although yeah, she could still be a little dark. She's better almost as a little bit of a darker character, but I don't think she'll go like straight, the nice girl face. But I think that I think we're going to get a character change from her. Obviously, we saw Brie Bella was the big surprise in the match. So the Bella twins were back together. So that was kind of a cool moment. Trying to think, of course, Tiffany Stratton had returned as well. So that was huge. A lot of people, of course, big Tiffany fans. And then, of course, we had some people in there, Jordan Grace, I thought really showed out in her very first Rumble. I thought she looked really, really good. My wife is actually watching. My wife doesn't really watch wrestling all that much, but she happened to be watching when Jordan was on. She's like, "Wow, she's a big woman." I'm like, "Yeah, and then I of course bragged a little bit. I said she was on our show, and she's like, "Really? That's awesome." But I thought the match was cool. The one thing I did, and I could never really prove this, and I don't think anybody ever would say it, but to me, I think some of them looked a little uncomfortable, and I think that they may have been due to the type of clothes that they all had to wear. Because remember, it is very different when you have to wear a full body suit in the wrestling ring as opposed to the stuff that they normally are wearing in the United States. So I think, a lot of them probably had a little bit of difficulty with that. And I can understand that you're asking somebody to do something that they're not used to doing. But they simply had to do that because of where they were. There were some great spots in it. I love the interaction with Charlotte and Alexa at the beginning. Wondering what they're going to do. Charlotte, you're always wondering if Charlotte's going to turn on Alexa, and you kind of thought that might happen. But then, of course, they teamed up and they were just beating everybody up for a while. So that was kind of cool. And obviously, you did get a little bit of controversy when Alexa finally went out, and then Charlotte kind of lasted so much longer. So there's that little bit of thing. And Jeff, the more I watch the Rumble as I get older, and obviously when we were younger watching it, we really didn't think this through as much, but they really use this show to stem new storylines from as they're going on. And that's really what you kind of have to watch this for. You're looking at these little interactions here and there that are going to be like, okay, this is going to be something that they're going to do going forward now. And you're going to see this get brought into play prior to the WrestleMania season and all that kind of stuff. But I thought the women's was good. Now, am I going to sit here and say that it was the best women's Rumble I've ever seen? No. There have been some, and I think, Jeff, the last couple years. So last year, and I think the year before, I think both of us were saying that we liked the women's one better than the men's in both of the previous years. Now, I wouldn't say that this year. It was good, but I'm not going to say it was as good as the men's. I think the men's was a little bit better this time. Jeff, what are your thoughts on the women's?
I thought it was good. I mean, we talked a little bit, like you said, before we started, and we didn't get a ton of surprises, but I think sometimes as fans, we put ourselves into a corner because we expect a bunch of surprises. We expect all of these different things, but I thought all in all it was good. It was good to see the Bella twins, and like you said, Liv is just so over and so popular. So I mean, I see it. So, but again, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was anything that was like, wow, this is gonna be one of the best Rumbles of all time.
Right.
But I thought it was good. I mean, I was entertained. So
I agree. I enjoyed it. There was nothing I saw about it that stood out to me as that was bad, certainly, and nothing that stood out to me as like, well, was completely like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen. But it was good. it was entertaining. It got done what it got done. It did some new, created some new storylines, maybe some new feuds, and that's really what it's supposed to be. But yeah, there was a couple of little some confusing moments. But other than that, yeah, I thought it was good, and I thought it was a good way to kick off the show. So yeah.
Yeah. So let's go to the bookend of it. Let's go to the men's rumble, and Roman obviously winning. What did you think about the entirety of the men's rumble and some of the folks that we got in it and how things played out? I was very interested and thought the first two entrants were it was fun. I'll say that the way they played that out.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously we knew. Now you could see how these leaks that these supposed leaks that come out are sometimes wrong. All these leaks that came out that everybody was saying, oh, they screwed up. They accidentally showed that Braun Breaker was going to be number one. He wasn't. Now, they may have scrambled around a little bit and changed that because that ended up coming on. But let me tell you, the people that were highlighted, okay, Obafemi, Trick Williams, some of these people from NXT really, really, really look strong. Really looks Javon Evans. I mean, really looks strong. And it's, the future is very bright, very, very bright for WWE right now. They have a lot of these young guys coming up. And my God, Obafemi, the people he was throwing out. And of course, Brock, the back and forth with Brock Lesnar with him. He had a lot of high spots. And of course, Powerhouse Hobbs, Royce, whatever they're calling him now. Royce Keys. He looked awesome. And, again, the beginning of it with Braun Breaker. A lot of people had predicted this a while back, saying that they crossed Seth Rollins. Do they really think that Seth Rollins is not going to retaliate at some point? And it certainly looks as if this is the beginning of that. Now, some are saying, was it Seth? No, I don't think so. I don't think he's ready to come back yet. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will just say that there are people who took close-up pictures, very close-up pictures of the man in the mask. And if you want to see what I put down, you can go on Insider's Twitter and you could see it. But the close-up picture that they got, and then an after picture that they got of that particular person who did wrestle in the Royal Rumble, by the way, you could see remnants of the black on his cheeks, this particular person. So, the obviously that's gonna, what they did to Seth Rollins was always going to come back and bite them in the ass. I mean, that's 100% what it is. And now you've probably got some double agents, perhaps, that are working against Paul and that team. So who are the double agents? So that got the whole thing started. Everybody, I think, including myself, thought Braun Breaker was probably going to be one of the finalists or maybe even win the whole damn thing. And he got knocked out. Yeah, he got knocked out right off the bat. Gone. So
can I add something about
absolutely.
Royce Keys? And this is going to be my first controversial statement of the evening. First off, congratulations to him for signing with WWE and furthering his career, doing what he wants to do, whatever the case may be. Absolutely happy for him. Mm-hmm. You know what I find interesting, Joe? The timing of a story that came out talking about how much AEW offered him to stay. I have two questions. Why is that any of our business, and why should we care?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
I just wanted to
Oh,
add
yeah,
that,
I agree. Yep.
before, and you can, if people want to figure out where it came from, I'm sure you can figure it out. But that kind of crap, it's like, okay, he chose to go a different place. All right, cool. Other people went to AEW this week. It happens.
They did.
It's a business. So my
One of,
God, stop.
one of them went there and won a title.
Yeah, right off. So stop running PR for companies, and just, if you're a journalist, be a journalist. That means calling it, down the middle. But
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah.
So,
No, yeah, 100%. Look, this is things like this are going to happen. It just is. And if somebody, what Jeff and I always kind of tend to talk about when this stuff is concerned is, as long, like Jeff just so eloquently put it, if the wrestler is doing better for themselves where they end up going, then good for them. That's what you want to see. You want to see that wrestler getting more time on TV, getting maybe more money to support his family, his or her family. And that's what, and ultimately you want them to be happy. You don't want them languishing on a show where maybe they're not getting any time, or maybe they're not getting what they want as a professional athlete. So that's what you want, so yeah.
but if he had debuted on Mars yesterday and not in WWE, people would have popped for it. But that's a whole nother discussion for another day. So
yeah. Well, the fact that he would have been on Mars, yes, definitely. I know I would have popped for that.
Yeah.
But I get you. I know what you're saying. But yeah, so the fact that, the stuff that when the Gunther thing I see in the comments, I'll be honest. When I saw Gunther was introduced at 30, I thought Gunther was winning the Rumble. I thought for sure that Gunther is coming in and winning the Rumble. And that threw a swerve to me, because I thought, why would you do that unless he was coming in for a purpose? And I thought for sure that Gunther was going to win the Rumble. So the fact that Roman won was a shock to me, because I didn't see that happening. I didn't see that happen at all. I was pretty sure Randy wasn't going to win. I was kind of pulling for Randy, but I was pretty sure Randy wasn't going to win it. But the Roman thing kind of surprised me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we all know what we saw with Roman Reigns for the longest time. And of course, today, all you're really hearing about from news outlets and this and that are, oh boy, is he going to be gone again for months on end, and we won't see him now? Now he won, but is he in it for the long haul, or is he going to leave for a month and then come back? And is he going to be gone now and come back for WrestleMania? And then is he going to win the title, and then we're not going to see him on all the shows again? And is he going to be a part-timer? That's all I've been hearing. And I don't know the answer to that. That's up to Roman and WWE. I don't know the answer to that, but I think people are maybe a little nervous, thinking that that's going to happen again. I kind of don't think so, because I think they would have planned for that. But Roman is a pretty popular dude. I mean, he's getting movie roles. He's other stuff going on in his life. So, but I don't know. What interests me, obviously, again, is the storylines that it told, and with Roman, you are going to get the most out of your WrestleMania main event with Roman and CM Punk. It's just going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And if that's where they're going with it, which I'm sure they probably are, then it's just going to be an absolutely huge main event. The two of them have that whole thing with Heyman that happened, and everything else, and all the history they've got. It would shock me if Roman doesn't choose CM Punk, because that just writes itself. And it's going to be outrageously big and very, 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 talked about and stuff like that going forward. So LA Knight was awesome. I saw people talking about him. His return was very cool. You knew he was coming back for revenge. He did just that. Trying to think who else stood out. We of course had Logan Paul in there. Logan Paul and please believe me when I tell you this. I can't stand the dude, but you got to give credit where credit is due. He is just getting better and better and better in the ring. He really is. And like him or hate him, and everybody probably hates him for the most part. The mystery attacker, like I said, I'm not going to spoil it for everybody who I think it is and the picture. But I mean, if you're on Twitter, you can go to our Twitter and you can see what I posted. But I thought it was good. Brock's thing was a little weird to me. But again, Brock is, I think, at the point too, where because he's not there full time and he shows up so few now, I honestly think, I mean, look, he's older now, and I don't maybe necessarily think he's in the shape that he used to be in. He looks great. Don't get me wrong, he looks amazing. But that's not ring. That's not in the ring. And I think
you're not bumping off, then
yeah. Jeff could talk to it better than I could. Jeff, I'm sure he probably would have even just trouble catching his breath if you're not used to that, right?
If you're not bumping a lot and you just, I mean, it's not like he's just showing up and doing that. I mean, he did prepare leading up to it.
Yeah.
But it's different. If you're not doing it a lot, I mean, you're going to be rusty.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, the stuff with Cody, I really don't know where that's going to go. I was telling Jeff before we started the show, I do believe that there will be a triple threat with Cody, Jacob Fatu, and of course Drew McIntyre at Backlash, or not Backlash, at the Chamber. Sorry. Yeah. I think there'll be a triple threat for the title. So who knows who's going to survive that? Is it going to be Drew going forward, or are they going to take the title off of him and give it either to Cody or Jacob going forward? And then who do they wrestle at Mania is going to be the question. So do they wrestle each other? Will it be that simple? One of them wins the title, the other one gets the match at WrestleMania. It could be. Again, you have all these storylines coming out of this, all this stuff going forward. But Jeff, the thing that stood out to me, and I'll get off the pulpit here. The thing that stood out the most to me was the young guys and the future that they have in the WWE. Jeff, the ovation and the noise that Trick Williams got coming down to that ring. Trick Williams is a star, dude. Yeah. He is an absolute star. He is a star. I mean, all that time, everybody was bitching and moaning about him having the TNA title. Why do you think they were doing this? Why do you think they were doing it? He is just a star. And Obafemi is a force. So I am excited the most coming out of this Rumble for the future of WWE and the people that they've got coming up from NXT. What a job that Shawn Michaels has done down there, and all the other people that are down there doing training and this and that, because man, is the future bright for WWE.
Yeah, and what's interesting is 6 months ago it didn't feel that way.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
It didn't feel that way.
Yep.
But today it does, and kudos to them, because again, and there was a moment as we step into the first day of Black History Month where Javon Evans, Obafemi, and Trick Williams, just the three of them, were standing in the ring. And that one moment meant so much on so many levels to so many people.
Yep.
And I just want to say that I recognized that moment. I saw it. and I'm appreciative of it. So yeah.
I'll tell you, Jeff, it brought me back to when I used to root for Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas back in the day. And you know, you're right. It is a very special and iconic thing, and you're just seeing the evolution, and that's the thing that they've got going for them. You know, we don't do the watch longs for NXT. Tazzy does a great job of that, and Tazzy's so much into NXT, and you could see why. They keep cultivating that young culture down there, and those people coming up. I know a lot of people were asking too that come out, and some of you who come out to watch our show, like, where was Joe Hendry? Joe's going to have his time. Trust me. Joe will have his time. It wasn't this year's Rumble, but Joe Hendry will indeed have his time. Joe Hendry is a made man. So don't worry, you will see it. But yeah, that was my thoughts. Jeff, what else stood out to you during the Rumble?
During the Rumble, I thought the way the whole bloodline stuff played out was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
All of that was funny with Jacob being in there, Roman, and
Jay.
Roman pretending like he was gonna run it back with Jay, and he's like, "Are you kidding me?" I thought that was all good. Man, but going back to Royce Keys, and I don't think this is pretty significant, at least in my eyes. It was the way he was eliminated to me matters. The entirety of the vision that was in the match at that point, after he got the best of a lot of people individually, had to collectively take him out.
Mm-hmm.
That to me shows that he's a major player, that he's someone to look out for. That's what I took from it. But man, I was shocked to see Roman, going back to what you said, I was shocked to see Roman win it. Just because, again, he's not around as much anymore. Maybe that's changing. Who knows? But does it really need to change? Because here's the other part of it. The CM Punk, if he does choose CM Punk's story is already perfectly made. CM Punk is there every week. He's the guy that you can count on to be there every single week. Roman, what are you off doing? You're in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Does that ring any bells for any previous CM Punk feuds that he's had?
Yep.
This is in his wheelhouse. So I would love to see Roman more, but I don't think we need to see him every single week. Obviously, we need to see him enough to know who he chooses and to make it interesting, but we don't need to see him every single week, I don't think. I believe you can add intrigue to the story by making him out to be this part-timer now that he used to loathe, and now he's doing the Hollywood stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
The one thing I liked about his mannerisms in it, Jeff, and you alluded to it, was how, the stuff that he was doing with Jey Uso especially, almost gave you the sense of like, okay, I gave you guys a shot.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't prove anything to me, so now I'm back to take it back from you because you didn't show me anything. You had the title for a little while, but you couldn't hang on to it. So now, it was almost like a dad saying, okay, all right, kids, you had your chance. Now daddy's back and I'm going to show you guys how it's done.
Yeah.
I like that whole thing. I don't really think you can go wrong with any sort of Roman storyline at this point. Because again, he may not be long for wrestling. We all know what he fought through his career. with the cancer that he had and everything else. So he may not be around for much longer. So it's one of those things where, you know what, you just sit back and enjoy the ride. And like Jeff said, if this culminates in him and Punk, it's going to be one of the biggest WrestleMania main events that you could get. And, you know, regardless of who wins over who and stuff, it's just, yeah, there's just a lot there. The other things you got to think of is the future too. Is Seth Rollins going to come back as kind of a quasi face? Because he got chased out of that group and stuff like that. Is he going to come back as a face? And if so, do you get Seth versus Roman at some point then also after the Punk match? So 2 huge matches everybody would die to see. Punk and Roman, and then Seth and Roman that they've wanted for years. So, yeah, look, again, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, speaking of something that we've been dreading, I was going to move to the next topic. But, obviously, we got this moment.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
So what's next for AJ Styles? AJ is officially done in WWE. So we believe. Saw a lot of thank you, AJ, out there. We saw that from WWE. Man, this was a shocker. I mean, I think a lot of people expected him to win because they didn't expect it to end so soon and with such little fanfare, you would say. But here's where I think sometimes as wrestling fans, we think we know more than what we do. Does anyone know why maybe he's done in ring? He has kids. And he's a good dad. And he wants to be there. And I'm sure as they get older and getting ready to get out of high school and all those things, he wants to have maybe a little bit more time to be with them. So I don't know what's next for AJ. All I know is I am appreciative of everything that he did from the time that he stepped foot in the TNA until this moment that he was done at the Rumble. I am appreciative, and you know, I'm so happy that he got an opportunity to do what he does in WWE. But it was shocking. I'm not gonna lie. I was a bit shocked. But again, you know, we don't know all of the discussions and the details and all of the commitments and different things that have happened backstage. But hey, he got to go out on his terms in terms of WWE. So,
yeah, a couple of things on the AJ thing. I think the glove stuff meant something. I really do, because you know, like kind of like they leave their boots in the ring and stuff like that, right? The gloves, I think, meant that for AJ, but he did put them back on. Now, I think he's done in WWE. And I think, look, there was a lot of people who published that his contract was apparently up after the Rumble with WWE. So how they know that, I have no idea. Is that true? I don't know. But I think he is done with WWE. However, and this is maybe more of me as a fan that wants this maybe as well, but I kind of think that he's still going to wrestle a little bit, and I think he maybe just might take a little bit of a tour. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that AJ comes back to TNA. We saw hints of it, right? You saw him confront Frankie Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian, by the way, is coming on the show this coming week on TNA. He was advertised to be there. Now, who do you think he might call out? And we already saw an interaction with AJ and Mike Santana as well. So I would not be, and like I said, I want this as a fanboy, but I would not be shocked if AJ got out of that contract and finished his career in WWE because he wants to go back to TNA for a little bit. Now, I know there's other people with other theories out there. There's already people out there saying he's going to go to AEW or he's going to go to Japan. And who knows? Maybe he'll do all of those things, right? Maybe this will be a grand tour for the rest of 2026. Because some people are saying that in other interviews they had heard him say he's done in 2026. So he can do whatever he wants. He's out of the WWE contract. He's done with them. So he can do whatever he wants. I would just really love to see him come back to TNA. Now, maybe it won't be until TNA's big, until later in the year in September or October when TNA has what's become their biggest pay-per-view of the year. I don't know. Will he be back? Could he show up at Slammiversary? He sure can. So I don't think we've seen the last of him wrestling. Now, I don't think he's going to go out and just wrestle in some random indie place. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do see him still wrestling for a little bit the rest of this year. Now, maybe it's just wishful thinking, and maybe I'm 100% wrong. But I still kind of think, like I said, I'm saying the thing with the gloves when he put those back on because he was in Saudi. He was over in a different country, and he put those gloves back on. I kind of just think that he's not done quite yet wrestling for the year. But Jeff, like you said, if he is done, and like Jeff mentioned, he's had enough. He wants to go home. He wants to spend time with the kids. He wants to, do things. If that's it, if that's truly, truly it for AJ in a ring, we've seen one of the best to ever do it. Mm-hmm. And I hope, Jeff, that maybe, and who knows, maybe when he's away from it for a little while and he gets that itch, maybe he'll go and he'll be a part of creative or a locker room somewhere or a trainer somewhere because, man, you couldn't get any better doing that kind of thing. Right. So maybe he'll want to come back in that kind of capacity. So, but all I could say, Jeff, is thank you, AJ Styles, one of the all-time best. And I will certainly miss him in a ring, but also I applaud him for getting out before he is at a point where he's told to get out because maybe he has an injury that's nagging or something like that. He's leaving on his own terms. And that's the best way you can do it.
That's it. I mean, like I said, I'm happy for him. I have more to say, but I'm sure I'll say other inflammatory things throughout the evening, so I'll reserve that for later. But the only thing I'll say is this. Whatever he decides to do, wherever he decides to go, he is one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, in my opinion. Top 10 for me. I can't speak for anybody else, but he is for me. So,
Yep.
All right. So speaking of one exit and one arrival, Tommaso Ciampa debuted in AEW, and not only did he debut, but in his first match, which was on Saturday, I believe, won the TNT Championship. Congratulations, Tommaso Ciampa, not only for winning the championship, but for heading to AEW.
Yeah. Well, listen, I always liked this guy. And from the time we saw him in NXT to the time he came up to WWE, but see what you see, and this is why it's great to have other companies out there, because what one company doesn't see in a wrestler, another company can. And that's what's good about having multiple companies doing well. WWE, AEW, TNA doing well out there, and the other independent companies obviously too. I'm thrilled for him. I'm glad he found the place, and obviously he came in with a bang. He's amazing. I mean, there's a reason why he was so good in NXT. I loved watching Ciampa in NXT. I loved it when he had that title for so long. He is just a very, very good wrestler.
Yep.
And
the way that they've presented him so far, I mean, they've made him look like $1 million.
Yeah.
And feel like $1 million right out of the gate. So yeah, I mean, it's well deserved.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt. And look, they just, WWE just didn't have it for him. Look what he was doing really for the past year and a half. He was involved in nothing. He was involved in a tag team thing that wasn't even really going anywhere. They just didn't find anything for him. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the thing with Karrion Kross. Kross comes out of NXT, killed it in NXT, right? Killed it. One of the top guys, one of the best entrances I've ever seen from a wrestler. And for whatever reason, the powers that be just didn't see it. They just didn't or couldn't see it. And I think it was very similar with Ciampa. They just didn't see what they had in this guy. And so the cool thing is there are other places that are out there that someone can go and get recognized for what he can do. And that is why it's great to have other companies out there.
Yeah.
That is why we don't want it to be one gigantic company taking everybody, because then they have nowhere else to go. Sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say, it is great that there are multiple places to be, and there's going to be changing between the companies and all over the place, and that's fine. That's going to happen. It's a business, because there's going to be one place that absolutely positively does not know how to utilize someone.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those other places will know exactly how to utilize them. That's just the nature of the game. That's how it works.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm really happy for him. The way that they've presented him, like I said, to start has been amazing. He's deserving of that. And I mean, he feels, and I know it's very early on, but he feels like a fit right away for AEW. I think he's going to do very well.
Agreed. Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed. I
will say this: our next topic. If you are easily offended, if you don't like your toes stepped on, I would advise you to give us about 10 minutes, and then we'll be done with that topic. So yeah. But you ready to go to the next one, Joe?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it. So in a bizarre situation, AEW signs the Rascals, and they release Trey Miguel immediately amid controversy. So I think the Rascals signing, if memory serves me correct, was announced the night before TNA's AMC debut, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I just want to get your thoughts, and then I'm sure I'll piss people off. Here we go.
Yeah, I was kind of, I had no idea what was going on. I saw it the following day, and I was shocked. I didn't see it until the afternoon, quite late in the afternoon. And I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. And again, like Jeff said, especially right before their big debut on another channel. I was shocked. I couldn't, again, I had no earthly idea that this group that has been so popular in TNA all of a sudden just goes to some other company. Like, what? I couldn't believe it when I read it. And then when I saw it, I'm like, wait a second. Like, they really did this right before the biggest debut on a new TV channel for TNA in probably what, 15 years, 20 years? And this happened right now? Like, something didn't compute for me and didn't make any sense. I'm not going to steal Jeff's thunder because I'm sure he and I are thinking the same thing. In fact, I know we are. But I call shenanigans. I don't know. I've talked to a bunch of people who are generally just wrestling fans. They're not anybody that is for one particular company or the other. They tend to watch a lot of wrestling, no matter who it is. And I just wanted to get their opinion on it, right? They certainly aren't big WWE fans. They watch it for pay-per-views and stuff like that. They're certainly not, they don't, the people who I spoke to is about 5 or 6 different people that have been my friends for a long, long time. In fact, some of them have turned away from WWE because they didn't like the way it was going like 5-6 years ago before McMahon left and everything like that. And I kind of talked to them as outside observers, and some of them started watching TNA because of me, and they're enjoying it. And I had a couple of them reach out to me and be like, "What the hell happened?" And I said, "I wish I knew." And they said, "Well, wait, like, does this have something to do with the guy that just came over from WWE? Like, what happened here?" And I said, "I honestly don't know." And 3 of them messaged me and said, "Well, this looks weird." And I had to ask, I'm like, "Well, what do you mean weird?" "Well, it's just like, look, it's just bad timing, isn't it?" And I'm like, "It's bad timing for TNA, yeah." And that's kind of where it was left. So I don't know, nor am I going to pretend to know anything going on the inside of anywhere. I have had a few of the friends say to me that, is this some kind of retaliation because WWE is partnered up with TNA? I said, look, I don't know. I'm certainly not an insider. I don't write for dirt sheets. I don't do any of that. I have no clue. Could it look that way? Kinda. I couldn't argue. So, but yeah, I'm gonna let Jeff go and get his thoughts out there.
Joe, I'm gonna start what I have to say by reading off some names. Okay.
Sure. Yep.
And all of this will make sense in a little bit. Ty Valkyrie. And I'm just doing this quickly by going through the roster, so I'm probably gonna miss a few, so please forgive me. Deanna Purrazzo. I won't count people like Will Ospreay and Jay White, but we will, however, count. Let's see. I'm just going up the roster here. My God, this roster's huge. Speedball Mike Bailey, Matt Sydal. I won't count Leo Rush because he's kind of been everywhere. Josh Alexander, Jack Doyle, The Grizzled Young Vets. I think you probably kind of get my point by this point. All of these people were involved with Impact slash TNA in some way, shape, or form when AEW had a partnership with Impact. So this whole notion of people saying TNA is WWE light, or that WWE is just going to take all of their talent. While I do agree, I hate the fact that Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace are not in TNA. However, that's a few more names that I just read off, and those names aren't on WWE's roster. Also, in the mix of the names that I read off, there were a few world champions in that mix. I don't think that some of these former world champions are in world championship contention right now. Why do I bring all of this up? I bring it up because all of this business bull crap, this fake war that's supposedly going on, that's fueled up by these public relations representatives, also known as some of these journalists out there. Um, they they do this crap that divides fan bases and creates enemies out of people that don't need to be. Now, listen, I went back and I read some of the stuff, some of the comments, that were supposedly the reason why Trey was released. And here's what I'll say: dumb, stupid, ridiculous, insensitive, awful comments. However, a lot of us have been at a point in our lives where we've said or done something that probably, if it was in front of millions or thousands of people, would have affected a certain path in our lives. That's no different. They're still human beings. But I am so tired. I get so tired of people talking about how, oh, well, TNA isn't this and they're not that. Well, obviously they were good enough to I won't say steal, take a bunch of talent from. And I won't talk about what they've done in AEW. You can look up what they've done in AEW and you can tell me, you can figure that out yourself. But I'm so tired of people pretending like these kinds of little weaselly kind of shots that are taking at TNA or whoever else that decides to do business with other people other than AEW, that these shots don't look weird. I mean, I could get all conspiracy theory on you and tell you a whole bunch of stuff that I've heard and read and I've talked to people and said all of that, but it won't matter because people are going to believe what they want to believe anyway. So my thing with this is if we're gonna look at this thing the right way, and Dan kind of said it earlier, I think this was AEW's way of giving TNA a middle finger the night before their debut to take 4 of their, I would say, pillars and most recognizable stars and not even debut them on the show, but do a vignette to say they're coming and then have them show up on Collision. Like that kind of crap. Maybe you don't like TNA and that's cool. That's fine. And you have every right to do it. And you have every right to be as petty as you want to be. That's cool. However, when you get called out about it, don't make it about everybody else. Don't make it but WWE did. This ain't got jack crap to do with WWE and everything to do with the fact that you had a partnership with a company where you put yourself over weekly and these unhinged video vignettes that you were doing from God knows where. And now you take this opportunity to stick it to the company because your partnership didn't work out the same way. That's where I think it stems from. But the Trey Miguel of it all is people get real high and mighty and act like they're perfect. But if their old social media posts were seen, I'm sure they would they'd be singing a different tune. So I'll have a little bit more to say during the grievances portion, but that's it for this for right.
I can go and just to kind of go on what you said about the social media stuff. Social media is garbage because it gets used as a weapon. And I can cite an example because I'm a big nerd and I love all the superhero stuff and all that kind of thing. James Gunn, the guy who does who took over the DC universe and did Superman, and now is setting up that whole universe back up again. Got a lot of flack because people who love the Henry Cavill stuff and the Ben Affleck Batman stuff and the Zack Snyder in particular stuff really didn't like what James Gunn was doing. So what did they do? Well, they went on Twitter. First mistake, I guess. And they looked up some things that James Gunn posted from years and years and years ago. And it also stemmed from the people that looked a lot of this up were also people who were a, let's say, fan or big supporter of our current president that's in office right now. And they knew that James Gunn was not. So they went on a digging hunt to try to hunt down any derogatory thing they could find about this guy. And of course they did. He made some off-color comments about things that, ran from a lot of stuff and were on his Twitter that they dug up. And they posted immediately as soon as they found it and said, look what this guy said and look what this guy did. Well, he had to come out and he had to say, that was when I was probably about 18 years old and I was trying to be a comedian at the time. And it was wrong for me to do it, but I was trying to get attention for myself from saying these things. And it was dug up because they didn't like his political choice. And at that point, the guy who had just made a movie called Guardians of the Galaxy for Marvel was then in turn told by Disney, you're done. We're not going to associate with you anymore. And they paid for that because the actors who were doing Guardians of the Galaxy all loved him. And they all said, if he doesn't come back to do the others, neither are we. And so Disney had to relent. And they said, oh, okay, well, we have a franchise here. We kind of have to have you back. So they brought him back, and he did the second one, and he did the third one. But then after that, he was supposed to be a bigwig in Marvel, and he was supposed to take over a lot of the big stuff that was going to happen next. And he told them to go kiss off, and he went somewhere else. This is how social media gets used. And it sucks. And this is why I hate it. I hate Twitter beyond reproach. I hate it. I wish I would never have to use it. But I interact with guys that are out there tonight listening to our show on there. Unfortunately, Blue Sky never made it into much. And there's really nothing else out there kind of like it. And I hate using it. But all in all, the reason why I brought this up is because, yes, like Jeff said, people make mistakes. We all do. And I'll bet you out there right now, some people in our chat have said things on X that they maybe did not mean to say, or they made a comment there that they didn't mean to say that they regret.
Or, Joe, or maybe they meant it with their whole doggone chest,
True.
but from the time that they said it to today, they've grown and matured as a person.
Yep. Yep. But unfortunately, it stays there, and anybody can go digging and dig up something you may have said 12 to 15 years ago and stick it in your face. And it sucks. And you have to apologize for it, and you try to move on. But yeah, I just wanted to cite that as kind of an example because it kind of reminded me of that situation. But yeah, we can get into more a little bit about this later on and move on. But yeah, you guys can look, you all that are watching tonight, you can make your own choices and decide what you want to decide until we hear any further from anybody else. So I'm done.
Well, Joe, going on to TNA that week, as a matter of fact, because a lot of people had to gripe and complain about TNA the first week, the debut episode on AMC. It's funny how people's opinions get altered by those PR people and journalists. But anyway, but they came back with a great episode. We saw a completely crazy ending with the system, and we got the return of Feast or Fire. But we also got the news that Trey Miguel re-signed with TNA. So, yeah. What did you think about TNA, quote unquote, riding the ship after what people considered to be a down debut episode?
The debut was a bit shaky, and anybody could admit it. There was technical issues, there was social media issues, there was, it didn't. There was a feel about it that just wasn't right. But I will say, the last 2 weeks, this past week's one was great. The week before that was spectacular. Was one of the best wrestling shows I've seen in a while. It was so good. So they are improving. They are getting better. We all knew there'd be growing pains. When you go from somewhere where you've been forever, like Access TV, where you're not going to get a huge audience. You're just not, because people just can't get the channel. It's not as accessible as definitely not as accessible or as known as AMC. So, it's going to be a little rough. And the second week, Conrad just said it. Second week was tremendous. This week's show was good, but it definitely was. The second week was off the charts good.
I know exactly why, Conrad, and I'll talk about it in my grievance. Sorry, I just had to answer.
No, it's okay.
Out loud real quick.
But yeah, look, they're going to continue to get better. They're going to continue to get better. And again, it's still it's limited, right? It's limited. We're used to length now, correct? With both Raw and SmackDown, Raw now being 2.5 hours, right? But you don't get the commercials, of course, if you're watching it on Netflix. And then SmackDown now is 3 hours. We're kind of used to that. TNA is operating on 2 hours with commercials. So they're getting about maybe an hour and 20 minutes or so to get all their stuff into that show. They're not going to get more time allotted to them. They're not even going to be allowed to go over the top of the hour, because that's right where the network goes to their 11 o'clock stuff. So they're not going to get that. They're not going to get that allotment. They're not going to get that extra time. They've got to cram all that into that hour and 20 minutes. And that sometimes is hard to do. So, as they go forward, and I know what a lot of people I think were disappointed about, Jeff, at the beginning, was we didn't kind of have that same TNA feel where we would get those really cool promos a lot. And then we would get some wrestling, and then we would get some cool promos, and they're just not going to have the time to do it. And so I think people have to understand that, and they have to work around that. And they will. They will. Yeah. They have good people behind them. Tommy Dreamer just a couple of days ago was talking all about it. And he is a guy that is really big behind the scenes with them. And he is saying, are there going to be growing pains? Absolutely. But he said, we're figuring it out. And I believe they are. And I believe it's only going to get better. As the year goes by, when they get to like the big events like Slammiversary and things like that, and when they get beyond that and they get to the fall, they're going to have it down. And I think it's going to continue just to get better and better and better. And yeah, the app is weird. I know, like I said, I've been, these guys laugh at me because I'm watching on Sling TV and I'm always behind them now. And then all of a sudden it leapt ahead and I was in front of them. And then so it's kind of all over the place. And look, AMC has never had wrestling on their channel. They have never had anything like this on that channel. So they're kind of feeling it too. They have to kind of navigate their way around it. It'll get there.
So you mean it's almost like we should give companies and networks grace? Like, for instance, when they have audio issues for months on end, but nobody ever says, oh, this broadcast is crap, I'm turning away. We should give them grace, correct?
Patience, yes.
Patience.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Just
right.
check.
Grace is a great. That's a perfect example. Yeah.
Yep. Just check. I just wanted to make sure keep everything fair.
Yes. Your thoughts, sir?
Listen, I am a fan of TNA wrestling, and maybe sometimes I take it a little too to heart when people come after TNA and pretend like certain things don't exist. So I was happy that they shut people up. Were there some things in the first week? Absolutely. But every company has things. But let's be honest, we know why those things were pointed out in the first week for TNA. Let's stop pretending. But I'm happy that they quote unquote righted the ship because the next 2 weeks have been great. Mm-hmm. The second week, by far and away, probably, like you said, one of the best weekly wrestling shows that we've seen in quite some time. So yeah, I'm so happy for them. I'm happy for Trey Miguel and what him being able to go back home. That was awesome to see him be able to go back somewhere, and they know him. They know the type of person that he is. So yeah, I'm trying to collect myself because I'm ready to
We're almost there.
Yeah, I'm ready.
We're almost there. Jeff's nipping at the bud, so we'll get through this next part. I think it's just wrestling being well, Conrad, and that's part of the social media problem. It's negative everywhere you turn, which sucks, but that's what it's become. It's a cesspool. I've said that before. It's a cesspool of the people whose lives are so sad that all they can do is spew negativity constantly to try to make them feel better by making others feel worse. That could be the definition of Twitter or X or whatever the hell you want to call it, because that's all it is. That's really all it is. And That's what's sad. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. If you go on and say, I really like Coca-Cola because it tastes so good, someone will say, you're an a-hole, Coke sucks, and Pepsi is better. That's what you will find, which is sad. Because you know what it devolved from? Twitter devolved from an app where people would go there because they might get a celebrity interaction at times. You might get, and God only knows, it probably wasn't a celebrity anyway. It's probably somebody that was running their Twitter. But, you know, that's what it's devolved from. I mean, I can remember the day, Jeff, when I got followed, and I still hold this in such high regard. I got followed by question mark.
Yeah.
From NWA. And I'm one of his account is still up.
Yeah.
He sadly passed away and his account is still up. And I am one of the few people on Twitter that he ever followed. And that's just amazingly cool. And that is what people went there for. And now they go there to be assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And it just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I'm done.
All right. Well, that means we get to go here. So you ready?
Yeah, it's time for the grievances, folks.
Right.
And you get to listen to Jerry Stiller.
All right, so here we go.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. No.
Well, there you go, guys. And we have some grievances today. And I'm going to bow before my friend here, Jeff, and allow him to go first because I know he's just chomping at the bit to get stuff off his chest. So, Jeff.
Yeah.
The mic is yours, sir.
I appreciate it. I won't take long, but I'm what I have to say, I need to get off my chest, like Joe said. I'm just gonna come out and say it. And again, you know, please try not to take things personally, but I'm just kind of tired at this moment. I am so sick and tired. I should have come up with something like what really grinds my gears, like Peter Griffin, but I'm not witty enough to come up with anything like that. But what's really getting on my nerves right now is the double standards and hypocrisy that I see across the wrestling landscape. And I really shouldn't be surprised because that's kind of where we are in society. You know, we're in a day and age where you can be shown a photo or let's say a video and told that something is completely different than what you see. That's kind of the case in wrestling too, where you see a concerted effort to diminish a company all because of, and spoiler alert, if you didn't know this before, because they're affiliated with the company that a lot of people hate. That's why TNA gets the hate that they get. Have they had issues with production? Yes. Have they had some things they needed to correct? Yes, no company is perfect. However, let's be honest here. The reason why the Rascals were announced on Wednesday and not just show up on Collision on Saturday, that's a shot. Let's just be real. Let's stop pretending. Let's stop acting like AEW's this innocent little young company that does nothing wrong or does nothing bad. Let's stop. I'm so sick of the fake wrestling wars going on and all the tribalism and all that crap because it's just like it's disgusting. Like it's disgusting because then what ends up happening is you get these PR people that I'm going to say who further narratives, they push these things, and then all of a sudden you get groupthink because all of a sudden people start feeling the same way. about that company. I saw more hatred towards TNA a couple weeks ago than I've seen in 20 years. In 20 years. So I'm just, and Conrad, don't bite your tongue. Like, please don't feel the need to bite your tongue. I'm just tired of everybody pretending like AEW is just perfect, because they're not. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody screws up. Every company does shady, underhanded stuff when it comes to contract negotiations, when it comes to, oh, let's try to upstage this company. Let's just be real. And I know why people don't want to admit the real, and that's fine. And we'll talk about that in the burning question of the week, because what I have to say there is real short and sweet because of what the question is. But all I'm going to say is this. All I got to say is this. Support who you want to support. Like who you want to like. It's all good. But if your rationale or reasoning for hating something is because somebody told you to do it, or because you can't possibly be the person that calls something straight and down the middle because of what it might look like to other people who are fans or whatever of the thing that it is that you promote or whatever, like, just, we got to get to a point where we can start being real. We got to start being real. And none of these people should get a pass. And here's what I'm going to say about this. Conrad, respectfully, every time AEW does something, there's always a story about how AEW was the victim of something similar or something else. And while they've had some stuff happen that has not been right, and it's definitely been petty, and it's definitely been shady from WWE's part, there's been some stuff that AEW's done that's been real shady, and maybe it's not towards WWE, but again, I bring up the fact that I read all of those names earlier. And please, I want you to go with me. If everything was above board, how and why did that many people from that one company end up over there, and what have most of them done since they've been? Joe, you can come back on now. I'm done. I have said what I need to say for this part. The last thing I just want to say is, let's just be fair. Let's just call things down the middle, because we don't want to start the mudslinging stuff. We don't want to start the stuff where people start really bringing up the dirty business tactics and all that, because it can get ugly, and nobody needs that. And the last thing is wrestling. It's not curing cancer. It's not healing the sick. It's not taking care of the poor or the less fortunate. It's wrestling. It's like, it's really not all that. So let's stop. Because at some point, people are going to get feelings hurt. Not necessarily, and I'm not even talking about in the chat. I'm talking about one day somebody's going to go too far online and they're not going to be able to pull it back. And people are going to get exposed. And I know that there are some stories out there right now about people having burner accounts and all of that stuff. And I don't know if that's true or not. It ain't my thing to figure it out. All I'll say is this. If you find yourself believing everything a certain place tells you, are you a fan, or is there another word that has a deeper definition that maybe you want to look into? And with that,
Oh man, I just, I don't know. Old man rant coming, maybe. Why can't we just all get along? Boy, is that an old saying. If my dad were still around, my father was a very outspoken guy. I like to say a lot of times I inherited some of his mannerisms that aren't so great. My father used to road rage like a mofo, and I definitely got that. I am now king of road rage, to the point where my someone's in the car with me, they laugh their ass off, and that's what I used to do when my dad did it. But why can't what I don't understand about this? Okay, and maybe again I'm old, I get it, but what I don't understand about all this, why can't we look again? Why are people out there now? Believe me, I know why. Okay. I know why the journalists, quote unquote, do it. I know why they do it. Nobody forces you, though, to listen to them or take sides. That's a you problem. That's a you decision. So what is coming from them that is making you believe everything they say to be true? Because I'll tell you what, I went to college for journalism. Now, some of you will make fun and you'll say, when was that? During the Stone Age? You probably. But I went to college for that. Back then, now this was when there was things called newspapers that people had to put their stuff in. There wasn't all this stuff going on today. And so these people make their living from stirring a pot. That's what they do. If you think that they are like the cream of the crop of journalists, you think they are be all and end all and know all, wow, I have a bridge that I could sell you. The tricks they use today are the same tricks that the journalists used to use back in the day that I was going to college. They just do it a much different way. And that is why I would caution you to get yourself wrapped up in some of these people, listening to their shows and their podcasts and their YouTube videos and all that, and believing every single damn thing they say to be gospel.
if a person tells you that they know everything, that's your first red flag. Sorry, Joe.
Yep. And then on top of that, you're going to go from that and you're going to pick sides and you're going to get behind one side or another because of what some person that thinks that they are the god of whatever it is that they're spewing and talking about, that you need to listen to every single word they say, and everything that that they say is truth. What makes them any different than a leader in government that lies to everyone for a purpose? What makes them any different from that? They're just trying to get follows. They're just trying to get attention. Sadly, they were probably, when they were young, young kids maybe were lacking attention. Maybe they didn't get attention. Maybe they got picked on in school. Maybe they got bullied or beat up. So now this is their way of getting back at people. It's like the evil mad scientist sitting in their room, right? And having their fingers crossed like this, or twirling their evil mustache and going, ha, 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 ha. I'm going to get back at all of them for picking on me. And I'm going to create this empire of lies. And everybody's going to believe everything that I say because I am this person who sits on social media 24/7. And I know everything there is to know about wrestling. I am the one to come to because my name is this or my name is that. And you need to listen to me and you need to follow me. Where is that different than any other bad things or bad leaders or bad whatever that we have had throughout the course of history? And yet, people will listen to them and believe every single word that comes from their lips, their podcast, their microphone, their Discord server, every single thing. They live by it. They wait for the second for it to hit, so much so that they're paying them money, monthly money, to get it first. And the minute it hits, where do they go? They come to Twitter, and they go on Twitter and say, oh, look what they did. Look what this company did. Look what that company did. Look who's coming here and look who's going there. And they live for it. It's like a drug. It's disgusting is what it is. It's disgusting that people make money on it. And if they were around when I was going to journalism class, and if they had some of the professors that I had back then, they would have been kicked out of journalism school. And if they want to call themselves journalists, they can knock themselves out. But they don't know the first thing about being a journalist. Because one of the things that I was taught back in class, and this was probably the first day of my first journalism class that I had in college, you tell the truth. No one told me back then in the 80s or in the early 90s to go out there and lie to get clicks and views and money. I was never told that. I was told that journalists are supposed to tell the truth. When did it change? Social media. Because now they know they get more. Truth doesn't sell. What sells are lies. What sells is deceptiveness. That's the thing that gets views. I've seen creators, even in the times that me and Jeff have been doing this show, creators who we knew and we spoke to, who have completely, they were even on our show. And then all of a sudden, they realize, you know what? My channel isn't going anywhere. So I'm going to turn around and I'm going to make a channel about, I don't know, I'm going to make a politics channel because that sells. I'm not going to do this wrestling show anymore because this wrestling show isn't getting any views. I'm going to go and do something controversial because that sells. Crazy, isn't it? And guess what? You know that person? They're not on YouTube anymore. Long gone. Long gone. Who survived? Someday.
All right, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I love it, man. Hey. Someday the others will be gone as well. And you know what people will remember about them? Next to nothing. Because that person that I'm talking to you guys about right now, I can't even remember his name. I know it was a he. I don't even remember his name anymore or the name of his channel. Not that I would say it because I don't want to be a goof, but I don't even remember who he was. He's like a fart in the wind to me. Gone. And that is what these other guys are going to be someday too. So before you get involved in all that, listen to the old man and think about who's really winning here. Who's going to be remembered 10 years from now? You might want to think twice. I'm done.
I love it. Conrad.
Conrad might know who I'm talking about, by the way.
I know exactly who you're talking
Oh,
about.
I knew you'd know.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
I know you'd know.
Man. Yeah. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on that one. Anyway, it's time for some sell or no sell, Joe.
Yeah, let's move forward.
Let's move forward, shall we?
Yeah.
Instead of talking about that. Well, never mind. That's not nice. See, I'm trying to be more like Christ, and people and remembering people is keeping me from that. So, Lord, please be with me. Anyway, here we go. Sell or no sell.
You all know how this works. You sell it if you like it. You no sell if you don't. And then, of course, we come to the spinner, and that is your turn to give us a topic. So, Jeff, what do we got, man, as the first topic for this week?
All right. Topic number 1. Mike Santana will be the TNA World Champion heading into Bound for Glory. Sell or no sell? Bound for Glory is the key there.
Yeah, that means he's going to get past Slammiversary.
Rebellion.
That's a lot of big pay-per-views.
Yeah.
And, of course, being the champion, he's got a target on his back.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, Jeff, all that said, I think that that Mike has earned what he's gotten. There were so many people saying that he was going to lose right away, that he may not even get past Frankie Kazarian. But now I'm kind of starting to see it in a different way. And not that I ever discounted the talent that Mike Santana has, but maybe what it is I'm just kind of believing a little bit more because we all know what happened really early, right? He had that opportunity of a lifetime where he could have done it in front of his hometown fans and it didn't happen for him. And then everybody kind of got off the train a little bit, but I am now on that train. I think he is going to hold on to it. I think he's going to have a lot of competition, a lot of stiff competition. But I think he is going to hold on to it until Bound for Glory. Now, and you were saying the key is Bound for Glory. Could that be when he could face AJ Styles at Bound for Glory? Mm-hmm. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. But yeah, I'm gonna sell it. I do think he's gonna hold on to that until Bound for Glory. Yes.
Okay. Okay. We got a lot of sales.
Mhm.
We do have a no sell from Conrad. No sell from Brandon. So this is a tough. I think I'm gonna no sell, and the reason being is I think the Nick Nemeth of it all is going to be an issue, but I also think that it is very possible that Nick Nemeth could cash in, and Nick Nemeth could be the one that faces AJ Styles if AJ comes over, and if it's for the title. I could see that happening, and then that's when I think Clown's person comes into play, because I think they want to make him look like a gigantic superstar. And I'm talking about Bear Bronson. So, so yeah, that would be my prediction. But I'm gonna no sell it for now. Not no disrespect to Mike Santana. I love the dude. Happy he's the champ, but I think something may happen between now and Bound for Glory that might end his title reign.
That's a good point. It's like outside stuff. That's the case. That's always what you have to look out for as a champion, that you just never know.
Yeah. And Sean Rousset brings up a good point. Eddie Edwards has that TNA World title briefcase. So that's somebody else you got to throw into the mix. And when you have Eddie Edwards in the mix, you got to worry about the rest of the system. So
yeah, that's true. That is very true. Groups could be a problem.
Yep.
All right, let's see what everybody says. We got Gus saying sell. Chad Schrader says sell. Bonus Baby says sell. Conrad, no selling. Conrad, let us know in the chat what your reasons are. Are they similar to Jeff's? Swack fan says buy. Damien says sell. Dylan says sell. Barry Monkey says sell, but I'm not sure if Nick Nemeth will take it and lose it back again. Brandon says I'm going to no sell unless he's still champ after Slammiversary. I think TNA may Josh Alexander the Santana deal short first run. Good chase back to the strap. Hold it for a while. I think plans change in TNA. We have Nemeth cashes in, AJ Styles, Ali, NXT folks, or something unknown. There is a lot of that. There is a lot of the unknown in TNA. So, yeah, it's a good thing to go with. Andrew says sell. Santana earns the benefit of the doubt. Swackfan says sell. Big Dan said there's a hybrid of sell and no sell, and I'll say it's because what if a certain band frontman comes into TNA and possibly becomes the Ayatollah of rock and roll of AMC? No sell. Bear Bronson takes it off of him before that, says Clown. Okay. Sean Rousset says no sell. Mike has to worry about Eddie Edwards also. Like Jeff said, could be a problem. The attendance for TNA specials and pay-per-views will begin to dip post Slammiversary, says Damien. Okay.
This is for
that's for something. Okay, yeah, that's for don't forget to Yep.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say don't forget to get your stuff in for the spinner later.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Let's see. All right. I got the first one, so we're good.
Okay.
Good with the first one. All right, so you ready to move on to the next one? Next topic?
Yes, sir.
All right. So next one up. This is very timely, I would say. AJ Styles is one of the top 10 best wrestlers of all time, Joe. Sell or no sell?
Yeah, top 10, I got to give it to him. Listen, we've seen, and Jeff and I are going to cover this a little bit later in the show too, but we've seen him there's a reason why they call the guy phenomenal. When a wrestling company wouldn't be probably around if it weren't for you, yeah, you've got to have some kudos. We often talk, and we've talked on our channel countless times about Mount Rushmore, and it's just so hard that's a cliche, and it's very, very hard to do. But a top 10 wrestler, I don't think there's any doubt. AJ has had so much history, and really, his back has to be heavy from carrying some of these companies through. But yeah, I don't think there's really any denying it. He will, and he's a legend of the business. You're not going to see, when you look at something like that and a question like this, you ask yourself, are we ever going to see another AJ Styles? No, you won't. He's the reason who he was for, to do what he did is not going to be equaled. He's like a John Cena. It doesn't matter if he's out on Mount Rushmore or not. But what he did do for TNA will never be ignored or looked down upon by anyone. And then moving to WWE and having a great career there too doesn't always happen. So yeah, for sure. Selling this for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna say sell. For me, he's top 10. Yeah, there are a lot of names, but I think in terms of looking at every single aspect that you look for a wrestler to have, you look for them to be charismatic, you look for them to be able to talk, you look for them to honestly be innovative in some ways. He's done all of that. So yeah, for me, he's top 10, and there's really no debate for me or a question.
Yep, I agree. Let's see what we got here. If AJ does go to TNA, I need TNA to sign Cross immediately so they can properly do that WWE feud there. Cross tweets during the match last night were perfect. Oh, I didn't see them. I'll have to check that out. Let's see. Past 25 years, sell. In the history of wrestling, no sell. Not sure if it's sell or not sell. So many wrestlers from different generations. It's hard to say one is better than the other, says Barry. Monkey Bonus Baby says, after flip-flopping like a trout, good description, I'll say sell. If AJ isn't top 10, he's number 11. Clown says sell. Simple argument. Without him being leader of the Bullet Club, would Kenny Omega be where he is? With the Bucks, Good Brothers, and G.O.D.? And that's a good point to look at from things like that. Would we have other people doing what they do without him? So good point. Sean Rosset says sell. Big Dan says sell. Taker loves working with AJ and said in his docu-series, he's the closest we've had to HBK since Sean retired. AJ could have a 5-star match with a mop, and he's an exemplary human being as well. Brandon says my seller. Oh, okay, that's one for the spinner. I know this isn't wrestling related, but because you guys are like family to me, I thought I would just bring up that this past Wednesday was my birthday. Oh, happy birthday, Damien. Yeah.
Well, let me play this right now. Happy belated birthday to Damien.
A new birthday song that he's been waiting to use. There you go. Happy birthday, dude. Happy belated. Hope you had a good one. Brandon says sell. If AJ had gone to WWE after WCW, he would have been a cruiserweight and likely never broken through. Best gamble he ever took, to be honest. Yeah, it's a great point. Yep. It's a great point.
Yep. And he changed, and like I said, he changed the entire game while taking that gamble.
Hey, let's not forget too, and I know why we would want to try to forget this, because there's a very dark time in wrestling. But let's not forget that he had that cinematic match with Undertaker.
Yeah, and it was great.
which was freaking awesome. I mean, next to what Bray did, the two coolest things we saw during a very sad time in wrestling's history. And man, oh man, just, that was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. We were all, I remember us sitting here watching it during the watch along. We were like, oh my God, Like it was so good. It was so good. So, all right. Well, there you go. I think we're going to need some more from you guys because we're already at that time.
Yep, we are.
So
And I need 3 more.
All right, there you go. We need 3 more. We got one from Barry Monkey.
I like that one.
All right, we need. Come on, guys. We can get 3 more. 3 more easy ones. Doesn't have to be a paragraph. It could just be a sentence or 2.
And Joe, we didn't even talk about that. Well, we might talk about that during a favorite moment. Well, no, we didn't even talk about the El Grande Americano Spider-Man moment.
Right? Yeah, that was pretty funny, dude.
Yeah.
That was really well done, actually. I thought that was good. There's one from Dylan. And we got one from Sean Rousset as well.
All right.
So what do we need? One more?
Yep, one more.
We need one more. Who's going to have the last one? We need one more. Conrad got it. Okay. We are complete. The circle is now complete.
I hate when that happens. Okay. All right. And then last one. Okay. Jericho.
While Jeff's doing the spinner, I got to tell you guys something that happened to me today real quick because I sent it to Jeff. I saw somebody put up a video and I knew I probably shouldn't have watched it, but I have to share this real quickly because it was somebody did a what if Pixar made The Exorcist nightmare fuel, and I literally almost threw up. I watched it and I almost died. I'm like, literally, I'm just sitting there going, no. And I'm thinking, an animated Pixar Exorcist? No. And then I got to the point where she's spinning her head and I'm like, no. And then I'm like, oh, dear God. Do not put that out there and make that be a thing. Because no, I don't need any. I don't need that to happen in my life. Yeah, it was terrifying.
It
was terrifying.
Scary. All right, we ready to go?
We are. Here goes the spinner, guys. And let's see which one we get.
And
last minute it changed.
Paige will be the next GM.
Wow, man. Yeah, you know what? I mean, a lot of people were saying that, the rumors are swirling around Paige, and I mean, obviously, a lot of people like her, and they want her to find a home. I could see it. I could see it. Obviously, we see the people that TNA have there now, and stuff. I could see her in a role like that. The fans would love it. And, GMs have now kind of almost become like managers in a way. I mean, look at what Pierce is doing and how involved he gets and stuff like that. Maybe a little too involved.
A little too involved at times.
Little too involved. In fact, so much so that it even went through my head that could he have been the one that attacked Braun Breaker? I thought for 2 seconds, could that have been Adam Pierce? You see, because I'm like, because some people were saying he might be going away, and if he really is going away, that would be the way to get him gone. Because if they find out it was him, he's out, man. Like he's gonzo. So, but yeah, I could sell this, sure. I think she would do really well in a role like that, and certainly I think it's the women's time to be doing some of this. So yeah, I'm down with that. Sure, I can sell it.
Yeah, and I love what Damien just said. Make her Ava's replacement in NXT.
Oh, yeah.
I loved Ava. Don't get me wrong. I liked her. But Paige as the GM in NXT would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah. Why not? Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, man, like the women are absolutely killing it right now. So much so that when we do our TIG Zords, I'll give you a little preview. My pay-per-view of the year was the women's pay-per-view last year.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it was close. So the women are killing it, and I would love to see more of those. You know, the women that don't necessarily wrestle anymore, then now step up and they come into these positions. So I think that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yep. All right, let me see what everybody's saying about Paige Sell, says Dylan. Paige would make a good NXT GM. Someone says Sell, this could be the first step back into WWE. Damien says Sell, make her Ava's replacement. Yeah, we talked about what Damien's comment was. Yeah, great thought. Bonus Baby says Ava wasn't the best, but I'll miss her. Bonus Baby says, and Sell. Big Dan says Sell. Paige's the next NXT GM would be killer, but Chelsea Green has also threw hat into the ring. We got a Brandon says from a storyline perspective, there are times I felt Ava tried too hard. Gus says Sell, and Swack fan says Sell also. So yeah, I think everybody's pretty much in agreement. But there are a lot of Paige fans out there, and yeah, you look when you oh gosh, there comes in with the first giggity moment of the night.
I'm trying to find it. You know, normally I don't have the giggity on it. I don't have it on Sunday.
Right? Caught Jeff unawares. OMG with the partnership Page in charge on NXT, Daria in charge at TNA.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Andrew says Sell as well. All right. Well, there you go. That was a good one. Thank you. Very cool. Well, there you go. That is Sell or No Sell for the week. And I don't know, Jeff. I can't stand, dude. If you guys don't pay attention to like our part of the world, Jeff and I, of course, are up in northeastern part of the country. We have been having averages overnights here of negative degrees, -4, -8, -10. I mean, negative degrees. It is cold here. And damn, I'm not used to this. I'm a frail old man, and my skin is just like literally feels like it's coming off. My hands today were red and chapped. I literally had to use moisturizer, and I never use moisturizer, and I had to put it on my hands because they were all like, "Oh, dude, I hate it."
Yeah.
That said, we got to heat it up, Jeff.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this question might heat it up a little bit again.
Burning question of the week time.
All right, I'll read it, Joe. Over the last week or so, I've lost a lot of respect for AEW and some of its fan base. Why do so many of their fans feel the need to just blindly accept whatever narratives they're presented?
I'm going to say this, and this goes back to the point I think I made earlier. A lot of them are now the present company not counted here, and people in the chat. I mean, obviously, Conrad has been a wrestling fan for a long, long time. Other people who have watched, AEW and stuff like that have gone to AEW, people who I've known that have switched over from WWE have watched wrestling for a long, long time. But I think generally, what happens here ties into my thoughts from earlier, and that is why I talked about it. Because I think what it is I think they listen to the trash, okay? I'm just going to refer to it as the trash. I think they listen to the trash, and they just have to be followers. They can't make up their own mind. They can't come to terms with something on their own. So they have to feel part of a group, and they have to listen to that and jump on that bandwagon and be a part, because they have to feel like they're a part of something. Everybody has to feel like they're a part of something, regardless of what it is. And I think that that's where this stems from. I think that, again, they blindly follow other things too. And they don't think for themselves. They don't just take a couple minutes and start to be like, this doesn't sound right to me. They want to be a follower. And I think that that's why it is. I think a lot of it stems from those people that are thinking that they're sitting way up here above everybody else, and that everybody else should just stand in line and follow them. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people do. And I don't know. Maybe they'll get a message from somebody else at some point in time and they'll think to themselves, damn, they're right. What the hell was I doing? At least I hope so. But that's, I think, why it is.
So I'll keep this real simple. One, I think you can find this in every fan base.
No, absolutely.
I don't think it's germane to AEW. But the other thing that I'll say is this, is that I think some of the same people that you see that say some of the horrendous and stupid things that we see, that blindly follow journalists or whoever that tells them how to feel, I think those same people are followers in other areas of their life as well. So when it comes to politics, they probably have 2 or 3 podcasters or people that they listen to or social media accounts that they frequent, and they probably follow everything that they say too. They probably have a lot in common in the way of they probably never had opportunities to do certain things. And I'll just leave it there. You fill in the blank whatever things you think they may have been deprived of in their life as to why they need to be off the line. But I think it's that simple. I think we're in a day and age where it's easier to blend in and go with the flow and put yourself in a group. It's easier to do that than to stand out, because what ends up happening is if you're a person that's like, well, I like TNA, but I also like WWE, but AEW is really good too. You're looked at as a weirdo in some ways. Like if you have nice things to say about each,
Yep.
people wonder what's wrong.
Yep.
Clown
Yep.
just did the thing that I was going to do. Support your favorite wrestlers. I don't give a crap about company. Support your favorite wrestlers.
Yeah.
They're there in TNA, AEW, WWE, GCW, whatever the case may be. Support your favorite wrestlers.
Yep.
Because that's what truly matters. Wherever they go, you can be a fan of. No, Gus, it's not weird like AEW. It's weird that anybody would tell you that something's wrong with liking AEW or liking WWE or liking GCW or liking TNA. It's weird for people to try to police what you like. I mean, it just because something isn't for one person doesn't mean. I mean, it's frustrating because we don't all have to like the same thing,
Yep.
but we don't have to crap on stuff that we don't like. All because, and this is what it really comes down to, especially with the wrestling stuff. A lot of people hate WWE, and rightfully so. I'm not going to say that they are squeaky clean. Lord knows they're not. I get why people hate them. Let's be honest about the hatred, though. The hatred clouds your judgment a lot. No, I wasn't saying that, Gus. I understand what you were saying. But that hatred clouds a lot of people's judgment. I'm pretty sure if WWE, and this is just hypothetical, and let's say into WrestleMania, let's say that WWE puts on the greatest show that they've ever done, right? And then at the very end of it, they give each person $1,000 cash to go to a casino in Vegas. somebody in that group will tweet about how WWE gave them $1,000 in ones and not in differentiating bills, because that's our society today. Is that we can't just we always got to complain about something. There's always got to be some type of complaint or hatred towards one group or another, or one company or another, because that's what keeps the world going around these days, I guess. But at some point, it's like, okay, let's just agree that we're not all going to like the same thing. There are going to be some weeks where AEW is freaking awesome, and there are going to be some weeks where WWE sucks. And there are going to be some weeks where TNA knocks it out of the park, and vice versa, and it's all a cycle. It is what it is. But let's not be jerks about it. That's my only.
Guys, the entertainment that you choose to like is yours and yours alone. You don't need to follow others. It's as simple as this. It's what you like. Everybody is different, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what makes up the world. That's why that's why everybody is what they are. I mean, people always listen. I got made fun of for liking a band that I liked when I was a kid. I was a huge Kiss fan, and I was a Kiss fan because I was a big superhero fan, and that's what they were like to me. And I got made fun of by all the fans of the big bands from the 70s, like Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith and all that kind of stuff. They're like, oh, yeah, you like Kiss, they suck. But, so it was going on since then, but just enjoy what you enjoy. Life's too short.
Yep.
And entertainment should never be something that is getting you down. And if it is, you kind of got to question yourself and think, do I want that in my life? Is it worth it? Or do I really like it as much as I think I do? But ultimately, this is the kind of stuff that should make you happy. When you're having a bad day, you kind of just want to sit down. I came home the other day. I was exhausted. I sat down and I watched the Wonder Man show because I watch all the Marvel stuff. I don't care what it is. And I'll tell you what, it was damn good. I enjoyed it. And yet I go and look at the reviews. And now thankfully, the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes are pretty good, which I was shocked. But I still go online and then I'm watching some people doing videos on it because, of course, all the people who are so knowledgeable about movies that have YouTube channels that have millions of subs have to come out and give their opinion on it. And, of course, they're hating, this sucks, another piece of Marvel garbage, blah, blah, blah. I found it very entertaining. I thought it was awesome. I don't care what anybody else says. It doesn't matter. I enjoyed it. It was an easy, nice, like 4-hour watch, not even 5 hours because it was like a half an hour each episode. And I liked it. I thought it was awesome. So just enjoy what you enjoy. That's what we're here for. That's what this podcast is. We're all here and you're all here because you love wrestling. And that's okay. That's all right. That's going to get you through bad times. That's what it should be doing. It shouldn't be making more bad times for you. And if it is, for God's sake, get away from it. Find something else that makes you happy. It's really that simple. We're on this earth for a limited amount of time. Don't get yourself down over stuff that happens on TV that's completely out of your control. Do some stuff that makes you happy. So.
All right. Well, Joe, we don't have a what to watch for this week, but we have favorite moments. And I figured since, we got what we got last night with AJ Styles.
Yep.
That maybe we could theme this week's top 3 is our favorite AJ Styles moments of all time.
Yeah, we're gonna do stuff a little bit different this time, right? Because obviously we're gonna do a little tribute here to AJ, and so We want you to play along here. So think about your top 3 favorite memories or moments of AJ Styles in his career, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do our countdown this week in tribute to AJ. Thanks for all the comments there in the chat. See, he's talking about the Skype days, and they tried. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, it trashed you for being a Brave fan. Yeah, look, man, it's everybody's different. And everybody loves what they love, and it's okay to love what you love. So, all right. Jeff, what is your number 3 AJ Styles favorite moment?
So my number 3, I'm going to start with his debut in WWE. It's something that for years a lot of people wanted, a lot of people never thought would happen, but it did. And we got a heck of a run out of it in WWE. So that's my number 3, is him being able to go to WWE and do the things that he did. I just, again, you know, just love the dude. So yeah, that's my number 3, his WWE debut.
My number 3, and I'm going to go right back to what I kind of was just talking about, was the Boneyard match with Undertaker. I have seen some amazing Undertaker matches all throughout Undertaker's career. I remember watching live the Undertaker's debut. And I have loved him ever since I saw him debut. He was a horror character. It was right up my alley. It was when I was into slasher films big time. And for him to debut when he did, and I remember watching all through this stuff, this was one of the coolest freaking things I have ever seen in a very, very bad time. Whoever directed this and whoever did this, man, what a spectacle this was to see. Like we all were in awe, right? Just like with Cena and Bray in the Funhouse match. And that's a great memory of ours because of Jody and everything like that, and watching that and seeing all that take place. And afterwards, we kind of just sat there with our mouths open, like, what the hell just happened? But this match with Taker and AJ, this could have been a mini movie, dude. This could have been a movie. This could have been, they could have done an 1.5-hour movie of this, and I would have watched the whole freaking thing.
Yeah.
This was just done so well. That and the filming, the production of it, and all that kind of stuff, just absolutely amazing. And you know, none of us really. It's funny because none of us. Well, it's not. I mean, I know why, but none of us really go back to any of that and never watch it again. And it's just because it's in our nature, and it was a horrible time for everyone.
Yes.
And so I doubt it. That has to be probably the least watched WrestleMania ever, and probably nobody goes back to it. And I completely understand that. But this match was just amazing, just amazing on both parts. Cinematic was, I want to say phenomenal. But yeah, that's my number 3, the Boneyard match. Just chef's kiss. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. All right, let's see what everybody's saying. We've got Bonus Baby saying number 3, beating up John Cena. Clown says number 3, Undertaker rising up behind him at their Mania match. Dylan says number 3, AJ's WWE debut. Sean Rousset says AJ's debut at the Royal Rumble. Damien says the Boneyard match. Barry Monkey says, please nobody say the Claire Lynch baby storyline. Conrad says the Boneyard match. Swackfan says the Boneyard match as well. One of my favorite matches on that Mania. Oh, yeah, no doubt. It really kind of, the thing they were trying to do with that Mania was just to try to take you away from everything. And that match certainly did that. Andrew says AJ's debut at the Royal Rumble. And Brandon says my number 3 is AJ losing to Magnus, a.k.a. Nick Aldis, in 2014, resulting in leaving. Okay, that's a good one. I like that. All right, well, there you go. That's the number 3s. Jeff, what's your number 2?
So my number two here is just him going to another place and continuing a great run, and that's his work in Japan. Um, what he was able to do with the Bullet Club, the matches that he had, and a lot of people when they saw the Shinsuke AJ match a couple weeks ago, they talked about their previous match that they had in Japan, and that's really where I got introduced to Shinsuke, and he became one of my favorites. Um, so yeah, that's my number two. Is just seeing what he was able to do from that launch pad from TNA to really go take over the rest of the world.
I love it. Mine, of course, is going to be SummerSlam of 2016 and when he defeated John Cena. I think it was a shock to some people because of the status and stature that John Cena had at the time. And I think that this may have been a match where, if people didn't kind of know who AJ was, or maybe weren't as familiar with him because they weren't really watching past WWE or WWF all the time. I think that when this happened, I think that really kind of opened a lot of eyes to how good and what kind of wrestler that AJ Styles is. And I think that really kind of brought him into a bigger light than he may have been beforehand. But yeah, the Cena match was just huge, and it's hard to believe that was 10 years ago. It's really hard to believe that was in 2016.
Yeah.
But that match against Cena, I think was just something that just elevated him to just a much, much bigger audience, I think. And much more people really, getting respect for him from when he came from a different company. So, yep. So that's my number two. All right, let's see. We've got Clown says AJ versus Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom. It's still in my DVR when I taped it on Access years ago. Andrew Stevens says the Boneyard match is his number two. Bonus Baby says AJ driving off in a convertible holding up the TNA World title while Dixie Carter was losing her shiznit. This is Bonus Baby number two. Nice. Conrad says number two, AJ versus Kurt Angle, AJ versus John Cena, AJ versus and Daniels versus AMW, AJ versus Okada, AJ versus Tanahashi, Bullet Club run. Yeah, dude. The Bullet Club is a great stuff with AJ. Royal Rumble 2016 at number three. Damian Robbins says number two, AJ Styles rivalry with John Cena. Number two, becoming TNA champion with Foursome and his New Japan Pro Wrestling run, says Swag Fan. And then we're getting to ones already. Okay.
Yep.
We're getting to number one. So, Jeff, you're number one, man.
Well, I mean, I've seen a couple people say it. His chemistry with Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels, that triple threat match. But just honestly, their entire history. I mean, those guys, they put TNA on the map. I mean, at a time where wrestling was ruled by the big, huge superstars and everyone else, you had this X division that was doing something completely different. And AJ Styles was at the head of that just unbelievable charge to put TNA wrestling on the map. So that's my number one. Honestly, his entire TNA run, what he did for the company, what he did to show who he was. But yeah, just that match, if you've never seen it, go check it out. I believe it was Unbreakable. Go check that match out. It was absolutely one of the best matches I've ever seen, ever.
Yep. And I can't disagree. I'll be honest with you guys. I wasn't watching TNA, so I didn't see that really until we started our podcast. Because when I first started watching TNA, when Jeff told me to, and they were showing highlights of that almost weekly, weekly, I'm like, damn, dude. First of all, the first thing I thought of was, my God, look how young he is. Look how young he is. They all were. And then I remember going and watching that, and I'm like, oh, my God, this is outstanding. Yeah. And I've probably watched it about 15 to 20 times since. It is an absolutely amazing match with 3 amazing talent. And like Jeff said, people that really made that company what it was. Oh, my God. Just an amazing match. And the fact that I wasn't watching it or never saw it before was so cool to watch that and see what happened. But you can just see like where he's come from since that baby face with I almost looked like he had an old style barber haircut, that like a bowl cut almost on his head, to where he is now. Just has to like make you smile. And the accomplishments of what he's done. And listen, if it is true that he is officially done, man, what a career. And not many, Jeff, and you know this too, not many get to walk away. Not a lot of them have to leave because of an injury and things like that. Not many get to walk away. And if this is indeed the end, we have just witnessed one of the best careers of any wrestler that we will ever see. And there's a reason why he was the phenomenal one. And he will be missed. But I'll tell you what, even if he doesn't work in wrestling anymore in front of anything, I would be shocked if we don't hear that maybe he's doing some stuff behind the scenes where maybe he's not seen in a ring, but maybe he's doing some stuff behind the scenes, like with writing or with development or with things like that. That's how these wrestlers can sometimes stay in the business without actually being on a weekly show or being in the limelight all the time. And I would not put it past AJ to do something like that. So, Yep. Awesome.
Hopefully so.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Number 1, seeing AJ Styles live in the TNA AMC debut January 15th. Swatfan says the Royal Rumble debut, all his early TNA work. Brandon says my number 1 is all the great matches and moments of TNA, including Unbreakable with Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe. Clown says 1B, always having banger theme songs. That's true. Chandra says AJ Styles versus John Cena, final match together. Number 1, AJ Styles debut. 1B, AJ Styles showing up in TNA alongside Leon Slater at Slammiversary. That was a cool moment, and a moment that Leon Slater will never forget. Cool mentions for Prince the Phenomenal with Christian and Tomko, says Conrad. Yeah, love that. AJ versus Samoa Joe. WC Cruiserweight Tag Division with Air Paris. Damn.
Going way back.
Damn. AJ Styles did mention he wanted to be a WWE scout. I could certainly see it. AJ's return to Slammiversary and putting over Leon. Swagfan says, I'm hoping for a TNA role, but if not, I won't be upset. Awesome career. Thank you for everything, AJ Styles. Yeah, that's really all you can do in a situation like that, is say thank you, AJ. And yeah, you were certainly live up to the nickname of phenomenal. And you will be missed inside that wrestling ring for sure. But what a legacy that he has left. And Jeff, he's got Hall of Fames in his future for sure.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no question.
He'll be in a couple.
Yeah.
He'll be in a couple. He'll be in WWE and he will be in TNAs for sure.
Yeah.
So, well, guys, there you go. This was a fun one. Mm-hmm. We had a lot to say, and thank you for coming out with us tonight to listen to us talk. We really, really appreciate all of you, and thank you for getting involved as you always do. We very, very much appreciate it. But that is going to do it for this episode of Between the Ropes. Before we head out, obviously, thank you to AJ Styles for everything you've done for us as wrestling fans and for your awesome career. That's our first thing we've got to say. And then we will talk about our schedule that we've got coming up for the week. Of course, we have the Fireflies show on Tuesday with Chris and Jeff. So join us for that. That is, of course, at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There are a lot of things going on in that little feud. So make sure you join those two guys for that. And then, of course, we will return on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for more TNA wrestling. So come out and check that out with us. If you've never watched TNA before, you should really come out and check it out. It's a very good show, and it's now on AMC. So it's not on an app that you can't get anymore. As always, if you haven't done so already, and if you're watching for the first time, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you drop a like on the video before you go. It's always the best thing you could do for any of your favorite YouTube creators. And hit that notification bell to be notified about when we have that future content coming up so you don't miss anything that we do. Thanks again, all. Have a great rest of your night. If you're up in the cold Northeast, please stay warm. Please stay safe. Be kind to one another always. And hopefully we will talk to you all on the next episode of The Insiders. Have a great night, everybody, and we will talk to you soon. Good night, all.